Welcome to the Delvin Cox Experience, the podcast in which each week I'm on a one-man mission to unite our culture through diversity. I'm your host, Delvin Cox, and this week I got a special guest with me who's working on a special project. Actor, producer, filmmaker, Kyle Hester. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, man. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on today. And to me, it's like, you can read my pinned tweet, man. It's all about diversity and pretty much, and I wish the world was more like we are, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You are an awesome dude, brother. And I only have awesome dudes on this podcast, and I appreciate you coming on because you got a big project that you're working on right now. And I wanted to get the word out there for it.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, we've been grinding on Preacher 6 for, God, it was just an idea like 3 years ago. So it just like, kind of came from nothing, and now it's in post production, and we're pushing to get it out for a summer DVD release.
That's awesome. Before we get to Preacher 6, let's do it like how we always do it with the 5 for 5. 5 questions, 5 answers to get the ball rolling. Kyle, are you ready?
I am ready.
Question number 1. What's the best album you listened to in the past year? And it doesn't have to be new.
The best album that I've listened to in the past year. Dirty Mind, Prince.
Oh, that's going to get a lot of likes here. That's a great album. Definitely a great album. Question number 2. What is your favorite thing to do when you're not acting, producing, everything else?
You know what? That's a good question. I think I like to be outside, and I just like to have just like chill time, because I like so much of my time is spent just like running and figuring things out with like the brain on. It's like sometimes I just like sit around a fire and chill out and listen to some music. So it's like I think that would be it, man.
Okay, that's a good answer. Question number 3, and this is everybody's favorite question. What is the dumbest thing you've done as a kid?
Oh, God. The dumbest thing I've done.
18 and under is fine.
All right. The dumbest thing I did as a kid. Okay. I was 12 years old, and I was on vacation with my cousins. We were in Florida, and I was 12. I said that. And we're on the beach, and one of my cousins is building a sandcastle, and I'm just being an idiot 12-year-old boy. And so I'm standing like right next to the wall of the sandcastle, and she's like, don't you dare, like, touch my sandcastle or do anything to it. And I did not mean to do anything, but my foot got a little bit too close to the wall, and that part of the wall like crashed down on my foot, and she chased me around and punched me right in the face. So
that sounds like something my son would absolutely do.
So it was like, lesson learned real fast, but I think that was one of the dumbest things.
Yeah, definitely. Question number 4. What's your favorite all-time movie?
The Shining.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. I think that basically, I think it has everything, man. It's got like really, really good actors and a really, really intense storyline. And when you can have those two things together, then I think that makes a great movie.
Okay, that's a really good answer. Question number 5. Zombie apocalypse happens. You know a little thing or two about zombies. You got to leave the city. You're going to take 5 things with you. What are you taking? And family members don't count. Family members can get in the car on their own. You have to carry them. Pets don't count as well.
All right. I am taking. Okay, I don't have to list clothes, right? So we're just going to assume that I have clothes.
Yes, that is correct. You're not going naked.
All right. Okay, excellent. I would take an electric solar panel, like, charger unit. So one of those, like, solar chargers.
That is smart. That is very smart.
I would take one of those. I would take a bow and arrow with plenty string, because you can make arrows, out of stuff. So so I would have a bow because you got to eat. So we're gonna assume that I don't have like a refrigerator with me. So I would say a bow and arrow, and you're definitely gonna have to have a knife. So I would have like a big one of those hunting knives, one of
Three.
those. That's three. Okay, so that takes care of food and electricity. Wow. All right. Um, what would I bring with me?
You're off to a really good start, by the way.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I haven't actually put a lot of thought into this, but it would definitely be a multi-tool. I bring a multi-tool, like one of those, yeah, one of those buck tools that has like the knives and all the little stuff on it, and can openers and all that stuff. So a multi-tool and a hammer.
That'll work.
So
I like your choices.
All right, yeah. So we got power. We have a way to make things and something to hunt with. So there you go.
A bow and arrow could be used as a weapon to protect yourself. So yeah, you kind of hit almost every little thing you can hit.
Yeah. You know what? The hammer could be like a throwing axe or a hatchet, because you can use a hammer as the other side, and you can. Yeah. So if I could change it, I would change the hammer to an axe.
Okay,
so,
that
but
works for me too. That's all. Either way, you had really good answers. So I think you can survive a good while out there. You didn't give the word.
Oh, cool. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. You're coming with me. If this happens, man, you're gonna call me, right?
I'm down. I'm gladly go with you as opposed to some of the other people who gave answers.
Right on.
That's what my friend about this all the time. Blows. He's proud that he's given the worst answer in show history because his answer was a remote control car.
Really? For entertainment?
No, he said he's going to use it to lure the zombies away.
Oh my God! All right. Hey, hey, I don't want to judge a guy. He's thinking outside the box. He's thinking maybe, that they really, really like little cars, and that's going to do it. And then he's going to be, all right, that's cool.
I'm judging him. I told him that's the worst answer I've ever heard.
Oh, that's funny.
He'll never go with me anywhere else. I know he's listening. He is not going with me.
Oh, dude. All right. Well, a little work.
So how's it going, brother? You're working a lot lately, as I've been seeing lately. You are working on a big project.
Yeah, man. We just all right. Well, are we talking about Preacher 6 right now?
It's Preacher 6. Let's get to it.
All right. Yeah, dude. Okay. Let me give you a little background. So, I was in a horror movie called The Chair. It's with Roddy Piper and a lot, some of the people that are actually in Preacher 6. So Zach Galligan.
Because I want to talk about Roddy Piper. So.
Oh, okay. All right, cool, man. Well, we can roll. I mean, wherever you want to go. This conversation, we can just look at this as a river. You know what I mean?
Let's go Preacher 6 first, and we'll run back to Roddy Piper.
Okay. All right. So one thing leads to another. So basically, learning how to make something out of nothing by Peter Samedi did The Chair, and I ended up as a producer on that. Because he, by happenstance, it's like I wasn't originally the producer on it. I came on as an actor, and so basically I got to learn how to produce things on the job training kind of thing, because I've done lots of different things in the film industry, so I kind of know my way around a set and what to do and what you have to do to get a movie made, which is a lot of things. So I basically produced that, and then I got involved with this other project that got taken away, after putting a bunch of energy into it and whatnot, and I was just like, I had put, my wife and I were like, had lots of time and energy into it. So when you get something taken away, where you got a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and to no fault of your own, have something taken away, it's gonna sting, So it's like, like we're not doing that again. We're not gonna basically, not gonna put myself on the line for somebody else, and then just to have something like taken away, because I hadn't I hadn't protected myself legally. So this is a good lesson for anyone like a filmmaker or doing anything that you need to have yourself contractually protected by. Do it. So having said that, so I was like, you know what, man, I was so pissed. I'm in the backyard and I'm kicking stuff around, and I've had a couple of cocktails, and my wife is in the, she's inside and she's all pissed off, and and then I go back inside, and I hear her like whispering this thing. She's going, preacher, just like that, and I'm like, what are you doing? That's really weird. But what is it? She said, I don't know, but it's awesome. And then we started talking about this like thing that she had, because she had a couple of relatives that she had. One was this is not a lie, Uncle Preacher and Uncle Brother. So
what? How did that happen?
That is what when she was a little kid, that's what she knew these two people as. They were a couple of her cousins or whatnot, that like Nana just said, just call him Uncle Preacher and him Uncle Brother, because one was a preacher and one was the preacher's brother. So that was just the way that like she was introduced to them. So anyway, that's
awesome.
That's what, yeah. So it was just like, all right, her grandmother was a trip. So so anyway, so we started like, shooting these ideas back and forth about this idea that she said, what if, this happened when, preacher was, it was fighting demons and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, what? This is fucking amazing. Yes. And it's like, let's make a movie, so like, let's do what I've been doing anyway for other people, and let's do it for ourselves. Put all this time and energy into something that that people can't take away from us, or that we can have some creative control over. And so that is how Preacher 6 was born, and that was 3 years ago.
So let people know what the project is about for those who are wondering.
All right.
What is Preacher 6?
Preacher 6 is about a small town preacher that basically ends up in the big city fighting demons in a literal sense. So he's like a reluctant superhero that comes in, like ends up in Los Angeles, and then he meets these other people in the story that kind of tell him what's going on, and then they all kind of they become this like team of demon killers, if you will. So it's a lot more deep than that, and the characters are very unique, and they all have their own special abilities. I'm using air quotes. So there's a lot to it, but that's like the baseline that I can tell you without giving away, cool plot points.
That sounds like a cool concept for a movie. And I see it reminds me of like a lot of things you see in cinema. I want to know. It's just like you were saying that you came with that, what your wife basically came up with was just saying preacher, which is weird as in itself. Is this one of those ideas that just popped in her head?
Yeah, totally, absolutely. Yeah, there was no like inspiration. No, I just saw this show and I was thinking, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? It was just something that just popped into her head, and it's like, and then we just started kind of spitballing back and forth, and then she's amazing. She's brilliant. You give her like an idea, and then she'll just run off with it, and so I like gave her a few ideas here and there, and then she like wove this spider web of epicness that became the movie.
That's cool. And you say you've been working on it for 3 years. So what was that process like, working on a movie? How, like from beginning to where you're at now?
Okay, so basically when the idea happened 3 years ago, like that day that she had the idea of it and we started talking about it, I made the Twitter site. So I don't know if you can go back and see like when a Twitter site was or originated, in other people's. I don't know how to do that, but if you can, then you would see that like it began like 3 years ago. And so it's like, all right, I know that like to have a movie and for it to be successful, you need to have people that know about it. So how do you do that? You have a site, and then you build excitement. So we went from that day like to start building an audience for this thing that we were developing and creating as we were going along. And so basically we started doing the fundraising for that, and then I got involved in that other thing that you had mentioned about zombies, a film called Zombie with a Shotgun. So
Yes.
we started with Picture Six, and then I got Hilton Ruiz called me up, and he's like, "Hey, I want to do this, movie." And I'm like, "Well, what are you doing? Are you doing it?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, let's do it." So Zombie with a Shotgun kind of like got in the middle of the Preacher Six process. But anyway, so that summer I went to New York to shoot Zombie with a Shotgun. Then it was back to fundraising for Preacher Six. So we had raised like $10,000 or something like that, which sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. It's like when
Not
you're
for me.
making, yeah. So when you're making a movie, it's like that's not a lot, and it's not going to get you there. So I'm like, all right, we need to do something. So I called up Grady, and Grady Earls is the director, and I said, all right, Grady, we got to shoot something. So I went out to Arkansas, which is where he lives, and then we shot like the first 10 pages of the film in that summer. So that was 2 years ago that we shot that, and a year and a half, something like that. Summer, but yeah, almost 2 years ago. So we're almost in the summertime, July. So it would have been like, yeah, two Julys ago. So I was in Arkansas and we shot that first trailer. So if you go on YouTube and you see like there's a trailer that we did, Preacher Six. If you look it up, it's you'll see me like in a church and talking to parishioners and then giving this like awesome, rousing speech. And that was our first trailer that basically got people interested in the film. So it's like, oh, now I see what it is. It's like we had to go from like idea and cool artwork to like, all right, let's show them that I can act, and let's show them that we have the skills to make film. So we did that, and so you can see that one there, and then we used that to make the rest of the funds to shoot the rest of the film here in Los Angeles, which we shot last summer. So we've been basically in post-production, for about 9 months now, because there's a lot of effects and CG work, and it's like, we don't have millions of dollars to have like a bunch of people working on it. So it's like, it's a very small crew, doing it. So yeah, so here we are now, and we're hoping to have it out this summer, if everything goes well, and sound and music and all that lines up, and here we are talking to Delvin Cox.
Awesome. Is there any actors or actresses that we may know besides yourself, of course?
Well, oh yeah, man. Let's see. Let's American Horror Story.
There you go.
Yeah, the lady that played Pepper in American Horror Story, Naomi Grossman. She was in it. She plays the Blue Nun, and she was incredible. I mean, she's got like such a huge fan base from that show that people like love. Pepper's the character. She is like that little weird looking character that was lived under the stairs or something from a few
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah.
People love that show. So that's a well-known show.
Yeah, exactly. So you definitely know her. Zach Galligan, he's in it, and he was one of the Thunder Brothers. He was in Gremlins, so he the lead in Gremlins. So if you've ever seen Gremlins, that's who Zach Galligan is. And,
that is cool.
Yeah, man,
That
it's cool, and
really...
the way that. Yeah, and the way that happened is because I did the film The Chair, with him. So it's like, so we had worked together as actors. So that's how that happened. And Tomas Boykin, he was awesome. If you see Tomas is he's the one that has the do rag on. He's doing the voodoo, chant, and canting, open the gate. He's fucking amazing. He's from Philadelphia. He's a stage actor, and he's done a bunch of stuff. If you looked him up, I think he's known for a film called Voodoo Possession. But he's comes from, all these people come from like stage theater background. So if there's any actors listening, get on stage. because that is where you build your chops, and that when you get in front of a camera, you're gonna know what to do. So that's my advice to actors.
That's good
But
advice.
yeah. So who else? It's God,
We
we
got to
just
talk
have
about this
so
movie, The Chair, because you named two names I'm very interested in.
All right, all right. Let's do it.
Let's talk about it a little bit. Rowdy Piper.
Yes.
Legendary. They live. Chew bubblegum, kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Rowdy Piper. What was it like working with him?
Dude, he was the nicest guy. He was like super down to earth, chill, nice, warm, like looked at you when he shook your hand, and like, actually, like, you could tell that he was actually having a conversation with you. Like, he cared about whatever we were talking about. And he was like that with everybody, and yeah, just the nicest guy in the world. And then when the camera turned on, it's like you hope that you're not on the other side of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm looking up to see if this is one of his last movies, because it had to be one of his last movies he made.
It was. The Chair was his last feature film. He did another short, but yeah, The Chair was his last feature film, and he was phenomenal, and he gives a great performance. Now, the film is dark. If you like horror, it's like a dark horror film. It takes place in a prison, so anything you can think of that happens in prisons happened in this movie. So just be warned, if you want to, I'm gonna go watch a nice little horror movie. It's dark, but if you're down with that, check it out, because there's some really great performances in it.
That's amazing. That's a cool thing that you worked with Rowdy Piper on essentially his last movie.
Yeah, it is. It was a shock, man. It was a shock, and yeah, I'm honored to have been able to work with him for sure.
Definitely. So, what was it like? Well, let's get to your acting side. What is it like? Because you've been in a lot of movies. What is it like just doing that ground? I think I want to just call. Is it okay to call you a career actor essentially?
Yeah. I mean, it's like I had no plan B, like at all. I mean, I remember, God, when I was like, in my mid-20s, I just did Andersonville, which is a John Frankenheimer movie, and Last Dance, with Sharon Stone, and then my grandpa, God bless him, but my grandpa, like, he worked for an oil company, so he was this big oil guy, and I grew up in Houston, so he worked, for one of the big oil companies in Houston. He like sits me down. He's like, Kyle, when are you gonna get a job? And I had just done these huge movies, man. And I was like, oh, really? It's like, I was just about to like go, how cool is this? And everything's going great. And he's like, when are you gonna get a job? So yeah.
At that point, you probably should be like, I've been in the movie with Sharon Stone, Grandpa. I don't need
you know what? Yeah, I don't remember exactly. It's like I've like, my mind is blank from after that part of the conversation, because I think I was like in shock that he said that. You know what I mean? But to be fair, like, grandparents always just want the best for their grandkids, so I understand where he was coming from. You know
they
what I
have
mean?
no filters. Grandparents
and they have no filter. When are you gonna get a job, Kyle? All right. Oh, okay. Well, time for.
Your
but it's
IMDb reads like a grocery list. It's as long as I don't know what. You've been in a lot of stuff.
I've been in a lot of stuff, and I've done a lot of stuff. It's like,
which is awesome.
Because I tell you what, it's like, just for people to come to LA to be an actor, and like, I want to be an actor, and that's what I want to do. This city will eat you up and spit you out. So it's like, you have to be grounded and be able to multitask and do other things, and then if it works out, then it works out. But it's like that lightning in a, what's this, lightning in a fish barrel, or like a bug in a bucket. What's this thing? Yeah, that's the one. That lightning in a bottle. If you can catch that, man, it's like, okay, here's the thing. Here's mine. So in Andersonville was directed by John Frankenheimer, who is a renowned, award-winning director. You would know him from many things: Birdman of Alcatraz, The Train, all kinds of stuff. And so it's like, I came on. I had one line in that film, Andersonville, and I come onto the set, and this is my first film. So I'd been doing some theater. I was living in Atlanta at the time. I did a couple of shows at the Alliance Theater, and so I was like already doing the theater thing. So this was like a time where it's like I could choose that and could like go on the road and tour and do musical theater and all of that, or like I really wanted to do film, So it's like this was my chance, and I had this chance to go out and audition for this film called Andersonville, and I got it, So I booked this movie and I had one line, and I'm on first day I'm on set, and which I believe was going to be my only day. So this is my only day that I had on set, and here's John Frankenheimer, and he like walks up to these other actors, and I had the sides with me, so I'm reading the sides, for the day, and this other actor was there, and he was flubbing the lines and didn't know what was going on, and John was pissed. He was like, "God damn it! Does anybody know these lines?" And so I was like, I'm sitting like I'm 10 feet from fucking John Frankenheimer, and so I raised my hand, and I'm not in that scene. So I was just watching somebody else fuck up, So and I knew the lines because I had been reading the lines. Because what else am I going to do? So I've been reading the dailies for the day, and I knew the lines, and I raised my hand, and I was like, I do, and then he's like, read the lines, come here, So I get up and I read the scene with him, and he said, all right, you two are going to split this scene. So then basically I took half of that guy's lines, and then at the end of the day, John comes up to me and he's like, I don't know how, but I'm going to use you a lot in this movie. And then I was like, wow, how is he going to do that? I'm like in my early 20s, so I don't know anything, I'm like, so he was like, I'm going to use you a lot in this movie. And sure enough, I played 3 different characters in it. They were all speaking, and I came back as one of the central characters for the second half of the film. I was one of the fresh fish, so one of the prisoners that came into the Andersonville prison camp. But so anyway, so John Frankenheimer was going to be my, I'm using air quotes again, ticket, So, and he said that that there was this other film coming up we talked about called Silo 3 Jane that he wanted to use me in, which was another like military film that was going to be on the screen and not on TNT. And but he passed away. So he passed away before that movie was made. And
Wow.
so it's like, yeah. So that was like from basically I have this A-list director that knows me and that wants to use me, in movies, in the future. And so in my mind, like, okay, this is how people make it. This is how you have your shot. And then it's like when he passed away, it was like I'm all of a sudden I'm nobody again. Like nobody else. Who else knows that story? John knew that story. It was me and John that he knew that story. I knew that story, and he was the one that basically held the cards for the future movies for me, and so it's like I can't like tell that story to another director and go, wow, that's really cool, Kyle. I'll put you in my movie because of that story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they'll probably say screw off. We don't care.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Dude, so it's like, and that is a real story. So it's like this has been like, it's a roller coaster, man, because you just never know, and so I did lots of bit parts here and there. I was in Book of Daniel, that was done a few years ago, the Pure Flix, the Christian Book of Daniel from the Bible, and so I played a little part in that. And that was fun because I got to work with some, again, amazing actors in that. And yeah, and then it's just like the rat race of like how to get parts is so difficult because you're fighting A-list people. It's like you're fighting television personalities that already have a certain cue in Hollywood for TV and and whatever. So that's why you see a lot of the same faces, is because they have a lot of built up cue, as it were, because they have some type of recognizability. So And because I didn't ever really have that, it was like the only way that I was going to have to showcase my abilities without just like having a line or two here or there was to do it myself.
So let me ask you this, since you brought that up. What's the role you went out for that you were like, I got this role? And then all of a sudden you seen this A-list celebrity come in and like, nope, this role is gone.
Well, I'll tell you, okay, there was it's not exactly that, but that happens all the time. That happens all the time. So I could, man, that's probably one of the majority of the reasons why people lose parts. It's not because of performance, but it's because somebody else came in, where a part of theirs dropped out or whatnot. So now they're available for this. Whether they're better than you or not is irrelevant.
Yeah.
And that's like part of the hardest thing to learn, or to deal with as an actor, because it's like, I think I'm pretty good, so there's been lots of times when I would make it to the third and fourth callback, and I'm in there with producers and directors, and so it's me against this somebody that I recognize and that I know, and then, well, because I had never made it, it always went to the person that had the higher, queue, just from a numbers perspective. So, but something that happened on this movie, what is it? Three Ninjas. Remember the Three Ninjas series?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, there was Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain.
That's the one with is Hulk Hogan in that one?
Yes, that's the one with Hulk Hogan. Okay, so here's my story with that film. So there was this character in it called Zed, and he was one of the bad guys. He was just like idiot, surfer dude, and that's how I played it, when during the whole audition process. And so I had gone through the whole thing, and and I got in the back door for the audition because a friend of mine was the one of the first AD on or something to that effect. And so I got in on the whole audition process, and made it through, like was fairly consistent when I was auditioning for films. So I would make it through and get to producers, and I played this guy like he was a surfer dude, idiot, barefoot. I came in the auditions barefooted, and like, hey, what's up, dudes? Like doing the whole idiot surfer guy thing, and it was funny. So I'm in there with these other big dudes. The other two bad guys were pretty big. They were like wrestlers. So I didn't fit, but I was like this little scrawny surfer dude that was like really funny. So my friend calls me and he says, Kyle, you got the part. So I got the part. I'm like, he's like, pack your bags, man. You're going to Colorado, because I shot in Colorado. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. Again, another chance. I get another shot, at going into the Hollywood, I'm using air quotes again,
Yes.
movies, So, and I'm waiting for the call, and I'm waiting for my call time and flight information and all that kind of stuff. And then he calls me back, and he's like, this is days later after I've gone out and bought suitcases. So I'm ready to go to Colorado to shoot this movie. And he's like, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but they went with this other guy. And I'm like, what other guy? Like I had never, there was nobody there. I never saw him. I never met him, nothing. So this person was a friend of somebody's. So there's more information to that, but I'm just gonna leave that there. He was a friend of someone's, like that was high up in the movie, and so they gave him the part over me, and he said, Kyle, this is a TriStar. So he said, Kyle, they are yelling. They were executives screaming at each other about me, about like, do you do the right thing? And do you cast the right person and the good person, or do you do what you're trying to do and put your friend in there, even though it's not what's best for the film? So I don't. So that's another story. That's true stuff.
I'm looking up
You
this
know?
guy's name. I'm looking up who the guy is now. I'm not going to say it on the podcast, but I have to know who it was.
Right. Now, I don't know anything about him as an actor or anything like that, so I'm not bagging on him as an actor. I'm just telling my perspective of the story, you know? But
That's crazy.
yeah. So it's like not only are you, and I mean, I went to performing arts high school. I went to Cal Arts. I mean, basically acting has been everything that I've done since I was in the 7th grade. So it's not like I just said, in college and like, hey, I look like a model, so I'll try to act, which happens a lot, but so I wasn't that story, like I got skills, I know how to do a lot of things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah. So yeah, I bet you weren't expecting all these stories, were you?
No, but I'm glad I'm hearing about it. I got another question for you about that then. What movie that you really wanted to be in that you didn't get the role for? That you were like, damn, I wish I'd have got that role.
Well,
I know it's not Three Ninjas Kickback.
Yeah, no, you know what? I really wanted to. It's like The Crow 2. It's
that would have been awesome,
dude. I wanted to play the lead in that so bad, and because I had met Brandon Lee before he died.
What was that like? That's awesome. What was
this, dude? I just, it was totally. I'll tell you the story. I was not in anything at any point. Before then, I was working at a coffee shop. So I'm just like some dude at a coffee shop, and this guy that I didn't. It's a funny story actually. He comes in, and I'm just like me, going, "Hey, how you doing, man? What can I get you?" He's like, "All right, yeah, I'll have a coffee and whatnot." And so I don't recognize him. I do not know who he is. So let's put that out there front. And then so I said, "Hey, you doing, man? So what's your story?" Because I do that, I like to know what people are about. And he's like, "I'm an actor, I've been doing I think I think I'm doing pretty good, man. I think things are looking pretty good." I was like, "Oh, really? What's your name?" It's like, and he said, "Brandon Lee." And I was like, "Oh, really? That's like Bruce." And I was joking. I did not know who this was. So I was joking when I said, "Like Bruce." And he laughed and he said, "Yes, like Bruce." And of course, that's Bruce Lee's son. So it's like I, at this point, now feel like a total idiot, yeah. So but he was super cool, nicest guy. Didn't make me feel bad for not knowing who he was, and or not recognizing him at the time. But yeah. But then like when he passed away, man, that was like that hit me right in the gut, because it's like it could happen to anybody. Which is why on my sets, I do not use live blanks. Like any gunfire that you see in any of my films will always be digital for that reason, just because accidents can happen. So that's a little inside baseball.
Wow, because The Crow is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's such a fantastic movie.
Oh yeah, mine too, for sure. And so anyway, so that was just one of the auditions that I couldn't get because I didn't have star name, So I wasn't even able. They tried. My agents really tried to get me in there, but they just couldn't do it.
That's crazy, but you're seeing success now. Preacher 6 looks great, man. What are your aspirations and plans for the movie? You want to make this a whole series?
Well, you know what? We'll see how it goes, but there may or may not be opportunities for that down the line. So, yeah. But in front of that was like Preacher 6 gonna hopefully come out, this summer, and we're following it up. Right now we're launching a modern western called The Coop that we're raising money for now, and that's gonna be awesome. Like No Country for Old Men meets Inglourious Bastards. So it's like completely different. So it's like, but you just got to keep the momentum going, and so that's what we're trying to do.
That sounds great. But so, if somebody wanted to support Preacher 6, where would they go, to be precise? Plug.
Well, you know what? I would say go to the Preacher Six, go to the Twitter site and start following Preacher Six, and then it will be out because there's no real way to support Preacher Six right now because it's in post production. So we did all the campaigns for funding on that one. So now we're just kind of like it's just in there. It's in post production world. But definitely, we can get involved in the next one, which is called The Coop, and you can go to @thecoopfilm, and you can check out the Indiegogo there, and you can see some of the actors that we have, and we'll be announcing more, and we're gonna put a little sizzle reel together so you can kind of get a feel for what that's going. So like basically that film is where Preacher Six was in the beginning, except we already actually have a script, but we just are like putting together. The sizzle reel and all that kind of stuff as we go. But at the Coop Film, you can check that out. And that's on Twitter.
That sounds awesome. And you've been doing a lot, man. That's great. Keep on pushing, man. I'm supporting. This is awesome. I think it's great what you're doing. I'm definitely going to support you on that.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's like I think that if there's something that anybody can learn from anyone that you hear in a podcast, it's just keep going, because the only reason that something is definitely not going to happen is if you stop trying, then it's definitely not going to happen. So if I had, when I was in my 20s and gotten a job, working for an oil company, we would not be having this conversation, but so just like keep pushing and live your life and do your own thing.
That's awesome. That's a perfect way to end this, man. Let them know where to find you at on Twitter.
All right. Well, you can find me at Kyle D as in David Hester, at Kyle D Hester. And you can find at Preacher Six. It's all one word, Preacher Six spelled out. And the Coop Film, at the Coop Film. So those would be the places, and it is me on the DMs. So if you have any questions, feel free to follow me and ask me anything you like.
Definitely, and support independent films, man. It's awesome to see you out here hustling, making movies, man. Good stuff, man. I urge people to support it, and even if you don't have money to support it, just send a message to Kyle. Let him know you're doing a great job.
Right on, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, and follow Preacher Six. Grab the DVD, or if you can't afford a DVD, you can wait to rent it when it's streaming. But definitely give it a follow.
Definitely do that. Thank you for coming on, Kyle. You've been awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. It's been awesome, and anytime, my friend.
Awesome. Delvin Cox Experience. We are out. Peace. What's up, guys? Before I go, I want to let you guys know that the Delvin Cox Experience now has t-shirts. So if you go to teespring.com and look up Delvin Cox Experience store, you will find t-shirts, mugs, and all sorts of stuff. So check it out if you can. If you can afford to buy something and support the podcast. I'm always saying support indie podcast, and I hope you guys, if you guys can have a little extra money, take time to support mine. Thank you guys. Delvin Cox Experience. We out.